Hello, beautiful people. Today is 27th of September. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Now, guys, first of all, let's have a look on today's GS Fodder. So, today we'll take a quote from the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhiji. Gandhiji said, "What difference does it make to the dead, the orphans, and the homeless whether the mad destruction is wrought under the name of totalitarianism or in the holy name of democracy?" So, guys, often it has been seen that the wars are justified into the name of democracy, into the name of bringing law and order. But at the end of the day, violence is violence, and in any form it is presented, it is not desirable. So, guys, such an idea should be used into the papers of GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 4, as well as into the topics of essay where the theme is world peace. So, guys, we will utilize it. So that's it. And now let's move to the newspaper analysis.
Now friends, first of all, let's have an overview of the entire newspaper first. Now guys, first of all, as today is Sunday, there will be no editorial section today. Now guys, here we can see that the a virtual address has been taken place between the Prime Minister of India as well as the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. Guys, here we can see that the Prime Minister has pitched a larger role of India into the United Nations. He had just said that given the stature of India at the world stage, India should be given a permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. However, guys, nothing other substantial thing has been said about here. Then, guys, moving forward, other regional news not actually very important for our exam. Now, guys, moving forward, we can see that here the High Court had said that prostitution is not a criminal offence. So, in this particular direction, we'll see all the issues involved with respect to the social justice GS paper number 2 as well as 1. Then, guys, moving forward, so the much of the advertisement, tenders, etc. are there, not important for our exam. Guys, here we can see that the invasive species has been mentioned, so we'll see the issues involved here. After that, guys, the protest and all such kind of thing going on, not important for our paper. Then, guys, onto the world page also, here we can see that a new judge to the Supreme Court is being nominated. We had seen that the RBG had passed away and now there is a vacancy into the US Supreme Court. Then, guys, the WHO's estimate, not important actually. Then, guys, moving forward, here we can see that the CAG has found certain discrepancies with respect to the cess. So we'll see the issue which has been involved here. Then, guys, the human challenge trials has been mentioned. Here the cloud computing has been mentioned. So as today is a Sunday, so we'll see all this onto the science and tech page. Then, guys, 5 amphibians has been added to Madhya Pradesh fauna list. Guys, not actually very important. Then, guys, the transmission of coronavirus. Please don't see day to day such kind of news because a large number of such things are coming and nothing conclusively has been pointed out. Then, guys, here there are certain things which we have already discussed. Farm bills have been mentioned, labor laws, the replacement into the Supreme Court, then the cess issue. So, guys, that's all. Then, guys, the issues such basically these are the personal diaries with respect to certain of the personalities. And now finally the sports page. Nothing, however, has been given here. So, guys, that's it. And now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail.
Now, guys, this particular article pertains to the virtual meet that occurred between the Prime Minister of India as well as Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Mahinda Rajapaksa. Now, guys, into this particular meet, there are 2-3 things which has been carried. First of all, if I tell you the background of this particular meet, what happened recently, the election into the Sri Lanka has been concluded and the Prime Ministership has been won by Mahinda Rajapaksa. Now, guys, just as the pandemic began, Sri Lanka made certain requests also to the India. The requests were 2 major requests. First is that the loan repayment that has to be made by Sri Lanka to India in this fiscal year, that loan repayment should be delayed. Second request was that a currency swap between the India and Sri Lanka should be taken so that Sri Lanka can get some economic support into the times of pandemic. So, guys, these were the 2 requests made by the Sri Lanka. After that, guys, there was one more consideration which is going on, and that consideration was that China is now getting more stronghold into the Sri Lanka. So in near the Colombo, basically into the Colombo port region, China is getting certain strategic grounds, and at the same time Indian presence into the Sri Lanka is being criticized. So, guys, this was the stage in which this particular meet took place. Now, as the meet was taking place, Guys, one particular exchange was that the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act that Sri Lanka has promised it should be carried forward. Now, what is this 13th Constitutional Amendment Act which has been talked at length into this talk? Now, friends, in 1987, the Rajiv Jayawardene Accords were signed between the India and Sri Lanka. Now, this was happening around the civil war in which Sri Lanka was involved. Now, guys, and during this particular time, Tamilians said that they have been discriminated and they have been persecuted into the Sri Lanka. Therefore, the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act was promised, where it was said that the northern provinces where the Tamilian population is substantial, the devolution of power will be given, decentralized power will be given to them so that they can get autonomy, so that they have more voice into the affairs of the nation. So, guys, all these particular thing was promised into the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now, guys, what has happened since so many years have passed, but even till now, the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act has not been fully implemented. On various occasions, it has been said to Sri Lanka that you please fulfill your obligations under the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act, but they just Sri Lanka had many times they had said that rather we will give 13 plus this devolution and something more, and on various occasions such promises have been made. Now, guys, what has happened, as I told you that the new elections have taken place. Now the new leadership, they have mooted an idea that the entire constitution is should be removed and entirely a new constitution should be brought. And into this particular thing, a kind of a fear has been ignited that what will happen to the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act if entirely the constitution will be removed. Now, guys, the reason that why this constitution is being removed is simply that before the Mahinda Rajapaksha, the earlier government, they had brought the 19th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now, the 19th Constitutional Amendment Act removed, basically reduced the power of the executive presidency. It created or gave more power to the independent bodies such as Election Commission, etc. And the new government which has come now, it is against such decentralization of power, and therefore it wants to restore back the original nature. And now it has also mooted that since 1978, when the present constitution came into the place, so many amendments have been done. So he said that now rather we should bring the entirely new constitution. Therefore, there are the fears that the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act might not go through. So, guys, such kind of thing has been talked here, and the Modi had urged the Rajapaksha that the aspirations of the Tamil people should be upheld. So, guys, this is all here. Now, guys, I have also told you that into this particular background, the Sri Lanka had made their monetary help to the has asked for monetary help from the India. Now, both the things, that is the loan deferment as well as currency swap, nothing has been talked here. But India has promised a $15 million grant for the promotion of Buddhist cultural exchanges into the Sri Lanka. So, guys, all this thing has happened into this particular virtual meet which has just taken place. So, guys, that's all. And now we'll move to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article pertains to GS paper number 2, issues of social justice. Now, what has happened here? Bombay High Court, here you can see, has said that prostitution is not a criminal offense. So, guys, let's take certain issues in this particular thing. Now, first of all, the prostitution, or basically sex workers, who could be they? They could be male, they could be female, or they could be transgenders. So the definition of sex worker is that these people are involved into the sexual activity as a part of economic exchange. So they are the sex workers. Now, guys, the basically one, when we talk about the sex worker, the age happens to be an important matter. Above 18 years of age, a person will be described as a sex worker. However, below 18 years of age, no one can be described as sex worker, because in India, the age of consent is 18 years. Such a thing has been provided into the Criminal Law Amendment Act as well as the POCSO 2012 Act. So here both the places, the person below 18 has been called as a child, and therefore any kind of sexual activity with them is a punishable offense. So the after above 18 years, a sex worker or this kind of thing comes. Now, guys, when we talk about the prostitution in India, first of all, prostitution is lying into a very grey kind of zone. It is neither fully legal nor it is fully illegal. However, guys, whenever it does basically sexual works and all such kind of thing comes, there is one specific act, that is Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956, or also called as the PETA Act. Fine. So this particular act says that the immoral trafficking is not allowed, and this is different from the prostitution. Immoral trafficking is that if a person involves into the hiring, contracting of some person for the sexual trade, and into this particular thing, if the third person is getting some money, then such kind of thing is prevented. Therefore, the basically bottom line is that pimping is a crime, prostitution is not a crime. So, guys, therefore, the similar kind of thing has been said by the Bombay High Court also. It has said that prostitution is not a criminal offense. Moreover, guys, it has also been said that Article 19 provides the right to move freely as well as to choose one's vocation. And if a one person is choosing the vocation of the sex trade owing to their conditions, their limitations in doing some other kind of work, then you cannot discriminate against such kind of people. However, guys, there are certain regularizations onto the sex trade, that is, they can't be done into the public area, or they can't be done into such areas where the decency or the public order will be disturbed. So, guys, such a thing is there. Now, if we move little bit beyond the scope of this particular article, there are certain reasons that is it the time that government should clear the mist onto the prostitution and should rather make it legalized. So when we talk about the legalization of prostitution in India, two type of viewpoints have been emerged. Viewpoint number one, they had said that no. Why? Number one, it has been said that according to the International Labour Organization ILO, the basically sexual trade is not a clean kind of a work, and every human being should be given an opportunity to a clean, dignified work, and therefore the prostitution is not a dignified work. Number two, it has been said that the culture, customs, the soft power of India, which has till now been the spiritualism and all such kind of thing, such thing will be damaged, and India will just become a kind of a sex hub for the world, and therefore it is basically, it will erode the tourism and all such kind of credentials for the India. Third, it has been said that by regularizing it, what will happen? There will actually be no benefit will be coming onto the ground. Then, guys, we come onto the next front, that is the people who argue in basically decriminalizing it or making it legal. Number one, it has been said by this particular thing, this entire trade or this entire activity could be taxed, and by that enough of revenue will be generated by the government, and that revenue can be utilized for their better health facilities, for the rehabilitation of the workers who had been brought into such kind of trade without their will. Moreover, guys, the second reason is that if we'll make it legal, then there could be the regularized health checkups, and the sex workers who have been contacted with a disease such as HIV/AIDS, etc. They could be identified and a treatment could be given. Thirdly, guys, it has been said that many a times into the sex trade, the pimping and exploitation of workers happen, and the workers are not able to report because this entire activity is basically, no one is clear whether it is legal or non-legal. Therefore, their exploitation goes unabated. Moreover, guys, it has been said that if we'll legalize this particular activity, then there will be specific zones which will be constituted, and as they will be regularly audited, we can actually nab the underage girls or the boys who have been brought into this particular trade. So therefore, much respite on that particular thing will come. Moreover, it has also been said that anyhow it is going underground, so therefore it is better that we should recognize this. So, guys, on both the sides there are the arguments in this particular direction. However, we can never conclude it in one favor. Fine. See, there is no answer to such kind of social issues. There are just arguments. And if you also get such kind of question, you need to provide your set of arguments and you have to conclude suitably that a kind of a well considered, well thought call has to be taken. If it is being legalized, then with the safeguards it has to be done. So guys, that's all in this particular issue, and now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article, however, here is nothing into this article, but this happens to be an important reminder to us. Now 1921, this was the time that the Harappan site was excavated, and after Harappa, Mohenjo-daro was excavated, and in mean course of time so many sites got excavated that we named the entire civilization as the Indus civilization. Fine. So guys, now 2021, the 100 years are going to be completed. So just I want to remind that please pay attention to the Harappan civilization within your history when you are reading it, because the question into the mains could be asked, into the prelims could be asked, into the 2021 attempt. So you please keep it into your mind. Now guys, when we talk about the Harappan civilization in 1921, it was excavated under the basically under Sir John Herbert Marshall, who was the Director General of the Archaeological Survey. However, guys, please do pay attention to it. Now, moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article talks about the invasive species which have infested the Sajjangarh Wildlife Sanctuary. First of all, Sajjangarh Wildlife Sanctuary, it is in Rajasthan. However, guys, it is a very small kind of wildlife sanctuary, so much more specific attention you need not to pay. Just please keep it in mind the state where it is. Now, the invasive species has been mentioned here. So, with respect to the ecology, GS paper number 3, invasive species are those species which don't belong to one particular region. By some accident or by deliberate action, they come into some foreign territory, and there they spread in so much of the volume, in so much rampantly they spread that actually they endanger the native species of that particular region. Now guys, there are so many invasive species which have wreaked havoc onto the nature's ecology. Now, into the Sajjangarh Wildlife Sanctuary, what has happened? Lantana camera, such invasive species has spread out, and it has become very much abundant. It has altered the entire environment. It is giving competition to the native species, and much kind of damage is being done. Now, guys, this particular species we talk about, it is the native of the Central and the South America, from where it has spread to near 50 countries, and during the time of Britishers it came to India also. Now, as this lantana camera we are talking about, what has done, the Sajjangarh Wildlife Sanctuary where it has spread, it is home to various herbivorous animals. And as herbivorous animal eat these grasses, these shrubs, so this particular lantana camera, when they are eating it, it has some poisonous secretions, and due to that the animals are falling sick, and the herbivores population is going on. Now, if herbivores population will go down, you also know that the carnivores, they as depend on them, their population will also go down, and the entire food chain will be disturbed. So guys, the kind of a step has been taken where these lantana camera shrubs, they are being uprooted, and the region is being replanted by the native variety of shrubs, herbs, grasses, etc. Now guys, this particular lantana camera, it is not only poisonous, but it also has a very thick foliage, due to which the other herbivores plants, they don't get enough of sunshine, enough of nutrients, and they die into this particular process. So guys, this one is thing. Moreover, one more important thing we can see here is that this entire exercise of uprooting the lantana shrub and replacing it with the indigenous variety is a kind of an action where the government, voluntary organizations, villagers, everybody has come together. So it is also an example of a pooling up of community resources. So guys, that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article pertains to the cess issue which is going on. Now, first of all, yesterday I had discussed one editorial onto the cesspool. So guys, please do watch it if you have not done, because this article is more or less linked to that article only. Now, what has happened? Guys, I told you that the cess is collected on a specific item and it is used for a specific purpose. Government is right now levying more than 30 type of different cess on different items. So guys, onto the petrol as well as diesel, also cess is imposed. Fine. And that particular cess goes into the central road and infrastructure fund, and the money has to be used for the road and infrastructure upgradation. Is it clear? Now, what has happened? This cess is a kind of an entry which is of basically it goes on to the tax side. Fine. This is a kind of a tax kind of entry. Now, guys, what government has done? Government has made this entry into the non-tax receipts. Fine. Now, if it has entered into the non-tax sides, what is the implication that has happened? Number one implication is that artificially government is trying to inflate the revenue receipts. Is it clear? One is revenue expenditure, one is revenue receipts, and their difference is the revenue deficit. So if you will bring one entry from the tax side to the revenue side, what will happen? It will show that your revenue receipts are more, and at the end of the day your revenue deficit will be showing less. So guys, such kind of thing is not basically permissible under the accounting standards. Number one. Second thing, what will happen? By this thing, the cess, I told you that it is specific to one particular purpose. You cannot use it for other thing. However, if you will bring this cess money into the revenue side, revenue receipts are open to any kind of expenditure. So they, by that particular thing, the cess amount will be utilized for the other purposes also. So guys, an entry of more than 10,000 crore rupees has been made basically by mistake or by fraudulently onto the into the category of the non-tax receipts. So this is an example of the deficit engineering, and it is basically an example of such kind of unwanted exercises or which government is doing. So guys, that's all about this particular topic. Please combine it with the yesterday's topic of the cess pool. So guys, that's it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the human challenge trials. Now, what is this entire issue? See, human challenge trial, I'll tell you, whenever a vaccine is made. Fine. So vaccine has to be tested on a human being, that whether it is giving the protection or not. Now the standard practice is such that a person will be administered the vaccine, and then the person will be will be doing day-to-day job or works which he usually does, and from time to time we'll see that whether the person is infected the virus, or if he's infected, how his body is responding, whether some side effects have been there or not, and in such kind of way. Now guys, as right now the SARS-CoV-2 virus has led to the COVID-19 and so many cases are rising, this particular method is not desired. So therefore there is one basically fast track method also. That method is called as the human challenge trials. Here what will be done? A person after giving the vaccination, he will be deliberately infected with the virus. Earlier I told you he will be just in normal course of his activities, he will get infected by the normal way. Now deliberately he will be infected, and then we'll see that how vaccine is working in his body. And it has been said that the human challenge trial is nothing new, but into the last 50 years thousands of people have taken the human challenge trial. The drugs for the typhoid, cholera, Zika virus, even the yellow fever, they have been tested via the human challenge, and therefore right now it is also needed to be taken. There are so many of the vaccine candidates which are into the different stages of the trial, and therefore such kind of thing is desired. But guys, this thing has actually become a very much controversial into the present times. Why it has turned controversial? Because guys, there are two different type of schools which are divided on this issue. First are the utilitarians. Now guys, utilitarians are those people who believe that those actions are ethical or those actions are permissible which brings highest happiness of the highest numbers. Fine. Therefore, it says that by just conducting the human challenge trial, even if few people they'll fall ill, but we will be able to conclude in very less time that which vaccine is effective, and therefore by doing that particular thing, millions and billions of people could be given that vaccine and they can fight with the COVID-19. So human challenge trial should be conducted because it will be bringing much more benefit at the end of the day. However, guys, other school of people are the deontologists. Now, deontologists are those who say that you don't need to focus on to the consequences as utilitarians are talking. Deontologists say that you need to focus the right way. So right now, what is your way? Your way is such that you are deliberately infecting a person even when the treatment is not finalized. So here, your duty should not be such that you are putting someone's life into the danger. So therefore, they said that human challenge trial should not be done. Now, WHO had favored the human challenge trials and they had said that it should be done. But guys, still the unanimity has not been there, and therefore the article is also saying that the human challenge trial can help us into this particular thing. Now you don't need to go into the nitty gritties of this particular article, that which university carried the trial, which particular drug will be going into the human challenge, and because all such things will change by the time you will be writing your exam. But guys, the concept is much more important, the ethical implications and the division of the viewpoint is more important. So friends, that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about using the flood inundation maps. Now, in 2018, we had seen that the Kerala just saw the one of the worst floods. Before that, Mumbai floods were there. Every year, some part of our country is submerged into the floods. Such floods brings a huge loss of life as well as life loss of property. Therefore, guys, it has been said that what we can do, we can make the flood inundation maps. Now, what are the flood inundation maps? These maps depict the regions which are prone to the flooding. They can show you beforehand that if a flood comes, where will be the maximum of the damage. So, therefore, just before the monsoon begin, we can take the mitigative steps. We can be better prepared. We can even prevent this entire episode by taking some kind of engineering solutions. Now guys, by making how these flood inundation maps can be made. So guys, they can be made by using the space based sensors. Fine. So these space based sensors, they are actually called as the synthetic aperture radar, and these synthetic aperture radar, they are fixed onto the two constellation satellites that are the Copernicus, basically two satellites which are the part of the Copernicus program, which has been started by the European space agencies. So these two satellites are having these sensors. So guys, by basically taking that particular information, we can make the real-time flood inundation maps. So much data is being beamed by these satellites. Big data, we can utilize it with artificial intelligence and we can make such kind of maps. And guys, it has been said that into the back date, when the old data was used to make a kind of a flood inundation map, 94% times it accurately depicted the places where the flood will be coming. Even for 2018, the forecasts were very much accurate. So into the coming years, what we can do, we can prepare the flood inundation map for the entire country, and therefore we could go for the flood zonation of the country. And guys, in this particular direction, these synthetic aperture radars of the Copernicus program could be very much helpful. Now guys, into GS paper number 3, we have the disaster management. And in disaster management, flooding happens to be a very big kind of disaster. So if a question comes onto that particular line, you can also give this particular thing as a reference. It will be serving as a very good case study. So guys, that's all about this particular topic. Just as a reference, we can utilize it. And now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, as today is Sunday, on Sunday FAQ page, the articles which has come into the last week, they are summarized. Now guys, here there's one article that is about the cess fund. Now, yesterday only I have done this a particular article, and today also we had done this particular thing. Then guys, this particular article is about the Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg RBG with respect to US Supreme Court. So guys, though you not need to go too much into the detail, but anyhow, I have discussed this entire article on 21st September at this particular time, that what are the implications. Then guys, this article is about the farm bills. Now, many times into the last week we had discussed, but in a very structured way, we have discussed on 21st September, 17th September at these time stamps. And then guys, it is about the labor laws on 20th September, as well as just 3-4 days back also, we discussed this entire basically labor laws. I have told you there that how the present 2020 labor code wage bill as well as the 2019 as well as old laws, they could be compared with each other. So guys, anyhow we have taken all these articles much more comprehensively than what has been given today. So guys, I don't feel that we should waste our times in again repeating the same kind of things. So guys, that's all about the important news articles for today, and now we'll go to the question section.
Friends, please pause the video and try to answer the question. Question number 1 is with respect to the Permanent Court of Arbitration. Please read the statement, identify the correct code. Question number 2 is with respect to the National Medical Commission. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. Question number 3 is with respect to GMX 20. Please read the statement and identify the right option. Question number 4 is with respect to the bilateral investment treaties. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. So guys, that's all for the questions. I hope you are liking our discussion. Thank you so much.